Well, I hope, Bob, that things are not going to be too peaceful for this scheduled 12-rounder. I apologise for that London pronunciation, but that's what they taught me to say at school, and Americans call it schedule, but I'll try and use your words as we go along. And in the corner there with Muhammad Ali, Dr. Ferdy Pacheco from Miami, and of course the old faithful trainer, Angelo Dundee. And we're waiting now for the gloving up process. These gloves are brought in by the IRA Boxing Board of Control, put in this sealed box in the middle of the ring. They are in fact 8-ounce gloves, but they tried to get 6-ounce gloves on these fellas, which I think may have been a little bit too tight for them.
National anthem. And the arcane band combined for our national anthem.
As you will expect now, the Irish national anthem, and a very cute way of presenting it. So now all the trappings are over now. Musicians out the ring, court jesters not required anymore for Muhammad Ali. Let's get down to the real business now. Scheduled 12 rounds heavyweight battle. Muhammad Ali and Al Blue Lewis. And the introductions will be made by one of Ireland's top broadcasters, whom I know that you know well in America, Michael O'Hare.
Greg, will you agree that it's almost like a carnival atmosphere here? More than just a big fight, everybody's here having just a lot of fun.
Well, it's that way. I would have thought everybody except perhaps Al Blue Lewis as it starts, but how wrong can you be? You never know. He might come off the stool and really land one on the greatest chin. But it certainly has been a fantastic atmosphere the whole time here. The Irish are very easygoing people here, I must say, and they've been taking these two fellas to their hearts as though they were both locals.
So the security and stewards to hill 16, please.
And waiting very patiently there on the left of your picture is the referee, Lou Eskin, the editor of Boxing Illustrated. So we have a New Jersey referee with fighters from Kentucky, now Cherry Hill, New Jersey, of course, and from Detroit.
Greg, have you seen Lou Lewis working out while you've been here in Dublin?
Yes, he's worked very hard with Ray Anderson, the very fast light heavyweight, the man, of course, who was the last one to take Bob Foster the full limit in a light heavyweight championship. So Lewis has had to do a lot of chasing. He's hired Ray Anderson specifically to impersonate Muhammad Ali, and he's done pretty well with him. I notice over there in Muhammad Ali's corner that one of Lewis's seconds are just making sure they're not slipping any horseshoes into the gloves.
Billy Kahn, who was here, who's been here all week with us, said that he gives Al Blue Lewis a pretty good chance, simply because Lewis hits so hard.
Well, I wouldn't want to argue with Billy Kahn. But anyway, here are the official master of ceremonies, Michael O'Hare.
Heavyweight contest over 12 3-minute rounds between, in the red corner, from Detroit, Michigan, Al Blue Lewis.
£223.
At the weigh-in this morning, Blue Lewis weighed 223.5 pounds, or 15 stone, 13.5 pounds.
Well, that's the British way of weighing it.
In the
15
green
stones,
corner,
13.5.
the former heavyweight champion of the world, from Louisville, Kentucky, Muhammad Ali.
And there's Muhammad doing the traditional prayer, although some of us here call it his dignity bit. He's refusing to turn round. He looks as though he doesn't want to look at Al Lewis.
Or 15 stone, 7.5 pounds. The referee, Lou Eskin.
So now we'll down to the real stuff now at the start of the opening round. Muhammad Ali, Al Blue Lewis, and the referee is Lou Eskin, who's editor of Boxing Illustrated and also moonlights as a fireman in New Jersey. So he'll be able to extricate Lewis with professional care if he gets hurt. They're wearing 8-ounce gloves. There was some discussion of wearing a 6-ounce glove. They're bright red. I must say it's a great clash to these black bodies of these two very big heavyweights. And there's Eskin now. First time that he's refereed this side of the pond. And the scoring system is a 10 points must. And there will be no mandatory 8 counts. And neither fighter can be saved for the bell. If it's in the middle of a count and the bell goes, he will be stopped and taken back to the corner. And they're just checking now there's not too much grease, the referee, on Al Blue Lewis's face. And I think you've got to look at the height of Lewis there. He's about an inch taller, it would seem to me, than Muhammad Ali. So all set then for the big event here in Croke Park, Dublin. So we're wondering now whether this head cold that Muhammad Ali has been suffering, the Ali snuffle, is now going to be turned into the Ali shuffle. And we think that for the opening round, that Blue Lewis is really going to be a dangerous hitter. He once dented Muhammad Ali's ribs in training, and that was for real in Miami a couple of years ago, and got the sack for doing it. So once again, Muhammad Ali at his dancing weight, as he calls it, 217, just a pound heavier than he weighed for Jerry Quarry. And 223.5, Al Lewis. That's 13 stones, 13 pounds and a half in British scale. Now Lewis knows he has to get right on top of Ali, and he's a rough customer, and there's a lot of excitement in Lewis's corner to encourage him. And it looks as though Ali's teeing off fairly early. It's just tried a left hand for size there and a left hook. think that'll be the pattern here from Ali, trying to keep Lewis at bay. This fellow has a long reach. And he's got to flick this left hand out there like a snake's tongue just to keep Lewis at bay. I think that Ali's showing a bit of respect anyway for Lewis, because he's coming at him and Ali has to open up to try and stop him in his tracks. There must be just a slight fear in Ali's heart that this fellow can bang a bit. It's a very small ring, not more than about 16 feet, an amateur ring. So there's no place to hide, and that's for sure. It looks as though Lewis can reach him with that left hand as well there. I think that's as many punches as I've seen Ali take in an opening round anyway, as we thought that the opening rounds are going to be the danger spots for Muhammad. There's no fooling around tonight. These punches are really going at full strength. And that very weak bell at the end of the first round there on punches landed. Obviously Ali stole that one on the 10 points must system. But I must say, there was no fooling around from Lewis. He was getting stuck in very early, and I thought that Ali showed him a great deal of respect. And coming in the ring, who will obviously get a lot of whistles, is the young lady from Dublin.
George McGovern has a round card, Rig. I think Harold Conrad must be a Democrat.
Well, what do you know about that? And it's Virginia-born Betty McDermott, who works in a hotel here in Dublin. Well, I hope, for the crowd's sake, that she stays around a while. So Al Lewis there, having the gloves just pulled tighter on there by Luther Burgess, former fighter. When he was 19, he fought Willie Pep. Now, this fellow looks a very calm and collected customer.
One thing's for sure, Reggie. He didn't come in there intimidated by Ali, just as so many of Ali's opponents do.
Well, this seems an extraordinary rest period to me. It seemed far more than a minute. I think they had to wait for the young lady to get out of the ring. So, round two, and right away Lewis is off the mark with a left hook there that landed. Ali was just pulling his head back a bit, but he didn't get away completely. I'm wondering now whether Ali's changing tactics a bit by ducking down and trying to come inside that left jab. Ali teed off pretty good with a left hook there. And it looks as though he definitely has, if not respect, perhaps even a bit of fear that Lewis might come at him a bit dangerously, and he's trying to take him out quick. There's no fooling around at all from Ali. There's no doubt that this fellow carries a bit of a whack in either hand, and I think it would suit Ali. And Eskin there warning Ali to keep his punches up. I haven't seen that before in a fight with this former champion. I've never seen him land a low blow before, and I've covered most of them in America, and of course all of them in Europe. Well, that's one right out of the book. And this is a very heavily padded ring, which is maybe one of the reasons why the dancing feet are not in evidence. Now, what's he trying to do? Who's he trying to kid here, Ali? Is he trying to set Lewis up for the punch? Because he's certainly asking for trouble there, backing him off to a corner, doing nothing. Again, that left flick to the body. And if Lewis tees off with a right-hand counter, he could be in trouble. And he almost walked into that right-hand shot by dropping his hands there. I think he's got to pile up these left hands the whole time to take some of the steam out of Lewis and try and make him use those legs and tire him out very quickly. looks like Lewis takes a good shot. 30 fights and lost only 4 of them. And the corner from Lewis is saying, fire, let punches go, will you? But he's not doing enough, Lewis. And a good combination there, right on the bell with Muhammad Ali. Well, he came out there after that, what I thought very scary opening round, and it looks as though he was back in control again in that second round with Al Lewis here. Just a word about Al Lewis. He's 29, comes out of Detroit, and had 30 fights, in which he's lost 4. He lost twice to Leotis Martin, whom I thought was one of the best American heavyweights who never got a title shot, and also to Bob Stallings, but he reversed that decision against Stalling. And he's had 16 TKOs. Bob?
Well, he's come to fight tonight. He certainly looked like a tiger in that first round. In the second round, Ali slowed him down a bit. But Al Blue Lewis is here to fight, and Ali has an evening's full work cut out for him. I think part of the problem, Reg, is that Blue Lewis is a big man.
Yeah, I see the referee had to wait for that young lady to get out of the ring there. She just have to get out. They don't have a 10-second buzzer here as you have in America. So, to recap then, round 3, in case you've just joined us, Muhammad Ali and Al Blue Lewis, and I don't think there's any necessity for me to identify Muhammad Ali, because if you don't know him, you must have been living in a cave. And now here goes the Muhammad Ali show. He's walked around in Dublin rather like a Pied Piper. The crowds and kids have followed him everywhere and just almost worshipped the man. And here's this heavyweight happening now, really giving them some sparkle. I think he's taken a couple of Lewis's best shots and figures I've got to get in, but he's not getting it his own way at all. And this fellow can cave a few ribs in, but he's calling him on again. This is exactly what he did with Jerry Quarry. But whether he can break Lewis up as quickly as he did Quarry is another thing. What do you know about this? Lewis is entered into the act, and he's doing it. It's tit-for-tat stuff here. Shots are a bit high with the right hand, catching Lewis on the temple. But it'll make him difficult for him to think a bit if he takes too many of those on the top of the head. And hanging onto the rope there, you're not supposed to do that according to the rules over here. But I think they've parked the rule book at the gates tonight and left it all to Leweskin. And now he's really snarling at him, Muhammad Ali. He's putting his punches together with purpose now. They're trying to sneak these right hands the whole time. They're trying to get cocky with them. Lewis is jabbing with that left hand, pawing with it a bit, like a man who's a bit uncertain of where he's going. I'm surprised he's backing himself onto the ropes like this, Lewis. I mean, he knows he can't get away any farther than that. He's in trouble. As we come up now towards the end of the round, it looks like Muhammad Ali wanted to pin him in his own corner to save the walk home.
Lewis is certainly doing a lot better job than, for example, Jerry Quarry did with Muhammad. At least Lewis is in there, he's fighting, and certainly Muhammad is taking him seriously.
Well, I was in Las Vegas for that fight, Bob, and I couldn't agree with you more. I thought Quarry would give him much more trouble than he did, but he didn't. And I agree with you that certainly these opening rounds, Lewis's bums have been coming, and it looks as though Muhammad Ali has got to use the softening up process before he can catch up with this fellow.
Of course, for Ali, he's in good shape, and he's fighting the Ali fight, which is, as usual, superb.
No question he is in good shape, and he's getting up well before the round starts here. He's really waiting for that buzzer that doesn't exist. So round 4 then. And if you had to score at this stage, no question that Ali is in front. Not by the wide margin that we expected. Al Lewis's last fight was against that rough Oscar Bonavina down in Buenos Aires. Word had it that Lewis was not only doing well, but on his way to defeating Bonavina, but he was disqualified for butting. Well, if you butt Bonavina in Buenos Aires, you've got no chance. Now, Angelo Dundee calling out to Muhammad Ali, give him the shuffle. I think he wants to mesmerize Lewis a little bit. He wants his fighter to turn it on. Exactly. It looks as though it's a statue being scratched at the moment. See now that Lewis is rooted to the center of the ring, and this fellow is using this ring, even though it is only about 16 feet square, and the referee having a job to keep out of the way of these big fellows as well. But it doesn't look as though it's having an effect yet on Lewis's legs, and he's willing to throw bombs if he gets the chance. I'm telling you, this one's for real. If you're as close up here as I am, you can absolutely see those punches sinking into Muhammad Ali's ribs, but he's tucking the elbows in fairly cleverly. And that really banged Lewis off balance. I don't know really whether he was hurt by that. He's certainly got uncertain legs, to say the least. But I wonder whether he just toppled him off balance or hurt him with that one. I wouldn't like to take it to try. You get the feeling of frustration now from Blue Lewis, as though he's saying to Muhammad Ali, stand there, I want to hit you. But he's too smart for that. Ali breaking the force of those punches, tucking his arms inside. And they're calling in Muhammad Ali's corner that Lewis is tired. I wouldn't quite go along with that. I understand that he's not a long-distance fighter. But Ali's hitting him with his good shots, and he's coming back. And I must say, I didn't hear the bell there either, but the fighters were very obedient about that as they were having that rather hectic exchange there at the end of the round. That's what the old-time fight chroniclers used to call a rather bumper affair.
Yeah, that was some round. Ali gave him an awful beating, and yet at the end there was Blue Lewis coming back, while not quite as strong as ever, still plenty strong.
Well, don't get the impression from that illusion that the referee is in fact in Ali's corner. And having said that, he's now going over to Ali's corner to check with Angelo Dundee that he probably doesn't want him to put too much grease on the face or to get those gloves really secure. Outside the ropes there, and needed when wanted, is Dr. Ferdy Pacheco from Miami, who deals with any rare... I should think that's the most superfluous job in the business, having to attend cuts for Muhammad Ali. So round 5. And again, this moves by Ali to switch these punches to the body now. He's using the body, hoping the head will fall a bit. Certainly Lewis's legs look a bit uncertain, and I think exaggerated too by this very soft padding under the canvas. So I don't think it made much difference to Ali's spring, I must say. I think he's doing that to try and make Lewis drop his guard a bit and then whip that right hand over. Continually picking his spot there. Just look at this, he's pecking him off. He's done it about a dozen times on the turn, that left hand, and they're really sinking in. They look like taps, but they are not. That's the punch he's looking for. I think he's using that left hand to try and get Lewis to expose the chin a bit. There it is, trying it for size, a downward motion. Lewis making no attempt to get out of that corner and hanging his chin out a bit like a lantern in a storm there. Now, is Ali going to pile this one up in the 5th round? Well, I must say Lewis certainly looks a durable customer. Well, I must say Lewis certainly looks a durable customer. And a wild swing there from Lewis, caught Ali around the ribs, a little far back. Now, that was the punch that he hurt him with in training 2 years ago. And that took just a little blow away from Ali, who was just skating that round until that one landed. And again, these right hands that are getting... Why doesn't Lewis get out of that corner? Yes, he is as well. I hope that he heard me, because it really is ridiculous just to stand there and take them. What a right hand. That was the punch, I think, that Ali was looking for. He teed off with that right hand. He let the left hands go. He softened Alvin Lewis up. We could almost read that the whole time. There was no question. And he's up at 9. Eskin has only got to 9. That seemed like 19 to me. And the round is over. Or is the fight over? No, the round's over. There's confusion here at the end of the 5th. We couldn't hear the bell, and referee Eskin is checking now with the Irish boxing officials if the bell in fact did sound. Eskin did not take the time, I don't think, from the timekeeper. He went on his own time, and it looked to me like more than 9 seconds.
No, Reg, I think Eskin was right. I think Lewis was up at 9. And then the bell rang. I think Eskin called it correctly.
I'm sure the referee knew what he was doing. It's just that he seemed down so long, Bob, that I thought it had to be over. It looked like he was never going to make it. Well, this is not replay. This really is a live 6th round now. And that's a question there where the bell did not save Al Lewis. It's the rarity these days. The referee counted to 9. The bell went, and he stopped the fight and let it start again in the 6th round. And that is exactly what we saw with Ali, softening up Lewis with that left hand and looking for that right hand shot to knock him over. There it is again, trying it for size. I doubt whether he can let him go this round, because it's probably a blow to his pride if Lewis survives this one. It looked as if he was down there for 2 weeks. It really did. And again, the knees buckling there. The right hand did it. That punch went right to Lewis's chin and through to his boots. And now he's putting the combinations together. Clusters of punches the whole time. And it looks as though Lewis must take a chance to throw the right hands. He must try and keep Ali off. It's a good job those ropes are there. I really think they are keeping Lewis up. It looks as though Ali can take him now more or less when he wants to, but he wants to do it very professionally and execute that right-hand punch. No, that's not the way to do it. That was too short, but the left hook softened him up a bit more. Well, Lewis came in thinking that he could really pull off a surprise here, but they all say this, all except with the exception of Joe Frazier, the official heavyweight champion. This is his 39th professional fight, Muhammad Ali. He lost only one, of course, to Frazier, and the return, we hope, coming up. And this loose bandage on Ali's left hand waving about there, I hope that the referee takes note of that and just pulls it away. It's a bit disconcerting. And that was the best right hand of that round. He caught Lewis flush with that. Half a minute in this round. And this loose bandage is exactly the same thing that happened in the Quarry fight. And Lewis is coming back now. He's teeing off and fighting back. Well, what do you know about this? And they're really screaming in Lewis's corner for their man to go after him. And it's all over in the sixth round. That's the end of the round. And, of course, the referee making sure that that bandage is pulled away. Well, I must say, full marks there to Al Lewis. He took Ali's best shots there, Bob, and I was surprised, really, that he stayed the round after really literally coming off the floor there and getting the rosin dust on his back at the end of the fifth.
Let's give the credit to Lewis where it's well merited. I mean, this is a man of tremendous courage. He was knocked down, as you say, at the end of the last round, and then he came back. He was dead on his feet, and he just kept coming.
Well, they're working hard there in Lewis's corner now, telling him that it's not entirely a lost cause. Don Elbaum has been around the game outside the ring there, and inside Luther Burgess, a former fighter, and the man who discovered him, Steve Eisner, who's a drive-in movie owner from Phoenix, Arizona. So the seventh round, scheduled, of course, for 12. So Lewis obviously wasn't quite the fall guy that Ali thought he was before the fight. But if he sold him a bit short, he's in trouble. There's no question that we remember this fight as the man who was saved by the bell, which you don't see very rarely in modern boxing. And there again, they're really breaking up. His legs are unhinging. The right hand, it was a bit high, that one, but now he's using the variety of punches. The left hooks are coming in and jabbing away to the stomach there. And all Lewis is trying to do now is that wing and a prayer stuff, hoping that he can just catch Ali as he comes in. A little bit carelessly, perhaps, but no, he's tucking that chin down, protecting himself the whole time. This fella is a very super boxer. You get the feeling as if you want to say to Lewis, well, at least throw a dozen punches all at once and see what happens, but he puts them just one at a time. He almost sends a stamp with each one. And this is a no-hit at this stage. No, they're back in again. And he keeps chopping that right hand down. That's what he called his karate blow. That was the punch that caught Sonny Liston up at Lewiston, Maine. That short overarm punch that shoots over the opponent's left hand. And it certainly must carry some weight. There it is again. He really is trying to emphasize. It's as though he can hear me saying this. And Lewis really trapped in the corner there. what a courageous man this Lewis is. He's taken Ali's best shots, and he really has let his best punches go here. No fooling around at all. He's making a hard job of maintaining constant pressure. Now he has Lewis pinned in Lewis's own corner, and Lewis's seconds really screaming there. Let some punches go, and he's responding to that. So there's these broad shoulders of Ali in full flight, and a left hook there that really rocked Lewis just above me. It's about 3 feet away from here. And again the bell then. Well, I must pay full tribute here, Bob, to the courage of Al Lewis, and he responded to his corner when they wanted him to come out fighting back.
I just don't know how the man is doing it. There's a limit to physical endurance. Ali is in great shape. He's really winging those shots, and there's Al Lewis taking them and coming back for more.
Well, this is exactly what Al Lewis said he would do before this fight. He said, this fellow won't knock me out in a hurry. And he meant it, even though he hasn't fought since last October, so he's ring rusty, to say the least. That's mostly, I understand, because nobody will get in there with him, although they may well do after this fight. But it looks as though they've avoided this fellow Lewis like the plague, and I think there are times when we can understand managers doing that.
Harold Conrad, the promoter of the fight, just whispered to me, he just doesn't fall, and that's true. He's really standing in there.
So we're into the 8th round then. And it's just a question now whether this strong man Lewis can be broken up. I think probably there's a sign of frustration with Ali now. The referee Eskin kept well away from him, let him get on with the fight. He's only been needed really on the knockdown, and just once on a low blow from Ali. You know, Ali puts these punches together maybe half a dozen at the time, and then suddenly Lewis will let one go, as he did then, but that was just cuffing past Ali's face, actually. I get the message that Lewis is not the kind of guy you'd want to fight in a dugout. Getting a bit right-hand happy now, Ali. One after the other. There it is again, and as Lewis walks into him, the momentum is even greater. You think perhaps Lewis might start walking to his own right hand to avoid Ali's right hand, but he's staying static right in front of him and taking the punches. This fellow's got a lot of pride. Well, it looks to me as though Al Lewis is earning that $25,000 the hard way, but he's in there a real professional to the core. No quittance with him. I think probably Lewis can't really understand why he can't land a punch really right on the point of Ali's jaw. And hanging onto the ropes there. It's absolutely amazing, really, because Ali just doesn't know what to do with him. He's throwing his best shots, he's landing them all, and nothing is happening. I think he'll have to speak to him rather severely if this keeps up. And what do you know, Lewis is coming back again. I wonder if there's any possibility of Ali being shot. No, I wouldn't have thought so. Bob?
Yeah, I tell you, Reg, Ali looks... as I look at him now in this corner, looks like he's bone tired. He still has 4 rounds to go against a very, very tough customer, and I hope that he'll be able to keep it up because otherwise he's in with a very dangerous opponent.
Well, certainly the rounds girls are getting tired. We've had to have a change of scenery for that 9th round. The other one's been worn out by walking through there. There she is, the Irish Colleen.
Don't you think that everybody here thought it was all over at that 6th round?
Well, certainly this commentator did. I'll tell you that, Bob. I thought there was no way that he could get up there. And I really am proud of this fellow because there's nothing I admire more in a professional ring than courage, and he has it. So that's the mouthpiece, or as they're called in Britain, the gum shield, just being poked into Lewis's mouth there as we come up for round 9, scheduled for 12. And in case you've just joined us, it's Muhammad Ali and Old Blue Lewis. And Lewis was on the floor at the end of the 5th round, looked as though he was out for the world, and then the bell went, and he was hauled back. And I must say, he's been putting up, as we might say in Britain, a very stern show. Those fighters now sweating rather profusely in this rather cool night at Croke Park in Dublin. And now this peekaboo stuff. You don't often see Muhammad Ali do that, and he'll certainly get it with his next opponent, Floyd Patterson. And that takes place at Madison Square Garden. I'm wondering whether now Lewis, despite taking that punishment, has started to fight himself into a bit of shape. Because certainly everything Ali throws at him, he totally ignores and tries his right hand. He's copying the Ali stuff now. I think that's what's called taking a bit of a liberty. Well, there you go. Lewis is standing there literally toe-to-toe. There's just an inch in it there with these heavyweights. And it looks as though Ali's having a lot of trouble setting him up for that final payoff punch if it can come over. And it's not so certain that it will, because Lewis still having a go. This is Ali now turning it on in all his glory. He's really looking the part now, but full marks to Lewis. He's punch swapping, but the right hand there on that chin, and the ropes are really holding Lewis up, but he's fighting back again. He's using them as a springboard. What punishment this man's taken, and coming back. This will surprise Ali. He hasn't had an opponent do this, I don't think, since Joe Frazier. And that's the most punches you'll see landed on Ali for a long time. And that real glare there with Ali, it looks as though he's really upset the way this fella's coming back. And what a round that was.
That was one of the best rounds I've ever seen Ali involved in. Lewis just came back. He was out of it again. He came back, and Ali may very well be punched out at this point, Reg.
Well, I must say, we've been building up Blue Lewis all along for his courage, but there the fellow really started to put his punches together. He propped his backside on that middle rope and used it, I think, for leverage, and then let go with some real hot shots. And Ali was not liking that one little bit. And there was some consternation over there in the Ali corner during that round, I must say. They were saying, move and let the punches go, put them together. There he is now, the man himself.
You see, Reg, he came out, he was going to take a blow in that round. He was just going to try to get through that round, rest up a little bit, and then he thought he had an opening, and he kept punching. He took the gamble, and he may very well be punched out at this point.
Well, this is now round 10, and I think it's the man who can impose his will stronger on the other at this stage, a survival of the fittest. man of the big hearts and the big punch. Remember, before the Quarry fight, Ali couldn't put Mac Foster or George Chuvalo away, but he is trying like mad with this one. I don't often see a fighter use the corners and ropes the way Lewis does. I don't think he's seeking a respite there. I really feel that they're handy for him. He has more chance of standing up. Ali teeing off now with left hooks. And it looks as though the sap really is running out of Lewis's legs, but how can you tell? He suddenly pulls himself together. I feel as though there's a gate in those ropes that Lewis might open them and get out at this stage. But this round definitely is all Ali, and he's picking every punch and making them count. He's trying to break this fellow up for sure this round. But as Bob said, he's a little bit punched out. There's no question there after that minute of action there. He just needs the breather the whole time. What an amazing man, Lewis. You get the feeling as though Lewis is saying, okay, let everything go at me. When you've done it, I'll come back at you. But unfortunately, Ali does not give him enough respite. And these legs really are unhinging the whole time on Lewis. They're just almost disobedient. And his right eye is swelling Lewis a bit in this round, round 10. And they're yelling in Blue Lewis's corner, try the right. As you think he could try anything that's going. But as he went into that one, Ali timed it pretty well, and that was a hard shot. And that's the first time Lewis has really backed off, and as though it was a sort of token of surrender, but only for a few seconds. And I think that bell must have sounded like an orchestra to Blue Lewis.
Greg, let's say something about Muhammad Ali. What a fantastic athlete that man is. He was punched out, or at least it appeared to me, punched out after the last round, and he came back almost as fresh as he was before. This man is really something. He summons from the depths of his being an adrenaline, a power that rises to every occasion.
I couldn't have put it better myself, Bob. And just to recap there, then, this is the 39th fight for Muhammad Ali and the 31st for this man, Al Blue Lewis. Covered with this posse of seconds, really working hard. Luther Burgess, Don Elbaum, Steve Eisner. As we come up for the 11th round. So round 11, and as Bob was saying, the way that Ali pulled himself together there, he's back up on his toes again. 30 years old now, but what a fantastic athlete he still is. He was out doing some road running only a few hours before the fight. I saw him on the golf course in his tracksuit. He was jogging away there. What a fantastic man he is. Suffering a little bit from a head cold, but I think he sweated that out during the fight. But I must say, don't get any ideas that he has carried Lewis at all. He has let the best punches go right from the start. Lewis fighting all the time with his mouth open there, which is a bad thing. If he gets caught there, he could get his jaw broken, I would have thought. But with that huge mouthpiece in, he's got some chance of it bouncing off a bit. And now probably Ali feels that some of that danger must have passed because he's back what you may call the old Muhammad Ali, sprinkling away there, really giving them the business. And it looks as though Eskin feels that that's enough. He's not going to allow Muhammad Ali to toy with Blue Lewis, but he's had the professional pride of finishing this fight on his feet in the 11th round. And I think the fantastic performance by Muhammad Ali and a great performance of courage by Blue Lewis. And Muhammad Ali is being lifted on his shoulders there. You haven't seen that before. His brother Rahman is lifting him up, and Lewis is lifting Muhammad Ali up.
The usual situation in the ring where all chaos breaks out.
Come on now, for
Christ's sake. Ali, the former world champion.
And as always, there's bedlam in the ring afterwards. It looks like the subway in the rush hour. People are treading all over our shoulders. They always do this, of course, at a big fight.
All chaos loose. And we have a great trouble here to get through to Muhammad Ali. He'll come across.
We'll get to Ali in just a minute. We'll get to him.
Well, of course, this is the pantomime that we always see at these fights. And it really scares me, the way people jump in and out the ring here. And I wouldn't be surprised if one of these nights it doesn't collapse under the weight. It really is a hard thing. You know, even we commentators have to put up with something here at the ringside. We're getting kicked around and chairs are being pulled around. They're mobbing Muhammad Ali. They're shaking Al Blue Lewis's hand. They're pushing people off from Blue Lewis. They're a little bit tired. The man needs a rest at this stage.